Thanks for watching. I hope tonight is the first video of many on a series regarding women's self-defense. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about awareness for a second. Are you aware of your surroundings? Every self-defense class that you're ever going to go to, especially if it's a women's specific self-defense class, the instructor at one point, usually in the beginning, is going to say that awareness is key to defending yourself. I am in complete and total agreement that awareness is without a doubt the most important factor in being able to defend yourself, especially preemptively defend yourself, getting out of the situation before it starts. But what level of awareness are you actually at when you're going through your day-to-day operation? Remember, the bad guy knows more about you than you think. So he's aware of your routine. Your would-be attacker also has planned out where the ambush is going to take place. So you're in the negative. And what I mean by that is that if you're slightly distracted while you're going from point A to point B, you might not see, obviously, the bad guy making his move. Your first exercise is going to be self-aware of when you're approaching corners, when you're going through thresholds. How much of what is on the other side are you aware of? I know this seems like a pretty basic exercise that you probably wouldn't even normally consider, but think about the ambush point, the spot at where the bad guy is going to make his attack. Do you think that's going to be when you're on a wide open street, or do you think that's going to be when you're caught completely off guard, when you're turning a corner or opening up a door where he might be on the other side waiting? Again, bad guys know more about you than you think. They're going to know that around 5:15 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she is going to make this turn right at the corner of the building, and it's dark and there's not a lot of traffic, and that's when they're going to make their move. Next awareness exercise. How distracted are you when you're moving from point A to point B? There's a lot of electronic distraction, so most people are going to instantaneously jump on their cell phone and start making either calls or texts or checking email. So you're completely unaware of your surroundings if your attention is totally focused on something other than what's in front of you, getting from point A to point B. And now we're talking about checking corners, wider angles so that you can look around doors, look through thresholds, look around corners. So the next exercise is going to be, again, being kind of aware of your own distractions and how to eliminate those distractions. So if exercise 1 is being aware of taking wider angles when it comes to coming to corners and taking a little bit longer of a look on what's on the other side of a threshold, if exercise 2 is going to be becoming a little bit more self-aware of your own personal distractions, then let's move on to what I think is the actual physical exercise of this first series. So what I mean by this is that if you had to go from being surprised to a full sprint, how fast could you run for how long? The average male sprint is 15 miles an hour for about 100 meters. The average female sprint is about 11 or 12 miles an hour for the same distance. If you do the math, that means that you probably are not going to be able to outrun the bad guy. Why even try to run? Well, there's a lot of factors that we haven't considered. Number one, if you have some distance between yourself and the bad guy because you're aware of your surroundings, you're going to have basically a head start. Number two, if you take off running, the bad guy might not want to pursue because hopefully you're drawing attention to yourself, and bad guy wanted an easy target, which was you coming around that corner, but because you took a more aware approach to your surroundings and weren't distracted, you were able to get a head start, and that was not part of his plan. Number 3, you might be totally adrenalized because you're in a survival mode and you've chosen flight instead of fight. We'll get to fight eventually, I promise. But right now you're running for your life. So that extra kick of adrenaline might allow you to run at your top speed for a longer period of time. For our last exercise, you're going to put yourself to the test and see if you can run at 11 miles per hour for 30 seconds. Like we established before, that is the average sprint speed for a female. If you can maintain an 11 mile per hour sprint for 30 seconds, chances are the bad guy is going to have to make a decision whether or not he wants to continue to pursue or whether he's physically capable of pursuing. Practice makes perfect, so getting up to that 11 mile an hour sprint, if you're not capable of doing it so far, is a great physical goal as well as a fantastic way for you to be able to defend yourself without actually getting into a physical altercation. I hope that this series eventually is going to teach you all how to recognize a potential threat, to react to that threat, and to escape by any means necessary. It's going to be really difficult for you to dial 911 while you're in a full-out sprint. Remember, you're your first line of defense, but the police are your second, third, and fourth line of defense. So if you pump your power button on, this is an iPhone, if you pump your power button a couple of times really fast, calls 911 for you.